I'm Tia Borden with MiningIR. Joining me today is Fred Davidson, President and CEO of Impact Silver. Fred, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, it's good to see you today.
Very nice to see you as well. Can you give us a bit of an overview of the company?
Impact Silver is somewhat unique. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be explaining 500 years of history.
Wow.
Because we occupy a site in Mexico that was first mined by Cortez and his friends 500 years ago. In fact, one of the mines we're operating right now was first operated in 1527. So there's a bit of history. We all control a property of about 211 square kilometers. And we've been operating this mine now for 16 years. We're a pure silver producer. Over 90% of our product is silver. And this is a somewhat unique year or two for us because we have one mill that's capable of 550. We're currently mining 450 tons a day. With the expansion that we're doing underground at this rather old mine, we'll be up to about 550 tons a day by early next year.
That's exciting.
We have an extensive exploration program. We drill about 22,000 meters a year looking in this area because there's over 5,000 old mines in this area.
What's the benefit of drilling in an old mine?
Well, the advantage is when somebody was running an old mine, and case in point is one we call Alacran, which we're just starting to explore now. In 1920, there was a report by two geologists for one of the leading mining journals, and they were talking about shipping 20 to 60 kilos of silver per ton. And they thought the wall rock at 500 grams per ton wasn't worthwhile dealing with. So I don't mind chasing 500 grams of silver, quite frankly. And interestingly enough, they left the gold in there that was running at 3.5 grams gold. Because again, they didn't regard that as ore. Yeah. In fact, the waste pile had over 8 grams in the waste pile of gold.
Wow.
So it's an interesting target. And we have 5,000 of those targets in the area.
Now, what is some of the success that you've had last year, say, or in the last couple of years?
Well, the success is survival, for one. Silver has been fluctuating fairly dramatically, and in fact, about 3 years ago, we reduced our output by about 40%, and that was to focus on the mines that had a higher margin. We're an underground miner, and that enabled us to give us positive cash flow when other people were busy trying to bail. We now have about 18 million working capital, 17 million of that is cash. We have no debt. And going forward, we have an aggressive program. For instance, we do our own drilling, and our cost of drilling, I used to run a very large drilling company, is probably 1/3 of what a contractor would charge us. So we've been very effective in increasing our resource. We're not allowed to call it a 43-101, unfortunately. In fact, we've never mined a 43-101 ton in 16 years. We've been expanding that. We're working on developing these are veins that we're talking about. We have another project in the south of the property. It's a volcanogenic massive sulfide. It's stripped, it's ready to go. We have a mill on site, and the issue we're doing is testing the metallurgy, perhaps using ore sorting to enhance it, and then we'll push the button on it. And we're looking at some acquisitions right now that would significantly enhance our overall position. So it's going to be a very busy year for us the next year or two.
It sounds like it.
Yes,
now,
it's fun.
It must be fun.
It is fun.
What are some catalysts that investors should be aware of?
I'm sorry?
What are some catalysts that investors should be aware
of? We're in Mexico, and everybody says, when you're in Mexico, the caution, they say, oh, what about the cartels? We have less problem with the cartels than we do with the regulators. Mexico is quite bureaucratic. And I think bureaucracy is weighing down the industry. I think in certain respects we stand in good stead. We have a union, we've never had a strike. We, on ESG for instance, we're way ahead of the curve. We planted over 10,000 trees over the last 2 years, refurbishing old sites that we've never been on. We grow agave. We've got the local community replacing marijuana crops with agave, so they've got a cash crop. And we then helped create a cooperative which built a distillery. So we,
Mexico is a great mining jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's the idea is keep the community involved with us. We're involved with the community. Mm-hmm. But you're always dealing with bureaucracy. You're always dealing with the price of silver, which quite frankly is totally unpredictable. So I used to have a full head of hair before I took this job on.
Nobody needs hair.
No.
It looks good on you.
It's streamlined.
It looks great. Now, what are the top 3 reasons that you would say investors should invest with you?
One, we are a producer, which makes us somewhat unique even here. And we have been producing for 16 years. This is my 5th mine I've built, so I'm very comfortable with that. 2, we're an explorer. We're doing 21,000 meters of drilling each year on a very large property, and one that's got over 5,000 old workings on it, and 42 old historic mills, including right back to the occupation by the Spanish. 3, we're a developer. We have the mine to the south, the VMS, that we're looking at putting into production. And 4, we're in an acquisition mode because we're well capitalized. We've got a good solid following. So we're going to be a very active story in the next year. Mm-hmm. And I think what the investor wants to see is performance, competence, and potential.
It sounds like you have it all.
Yeah.
Frederick, thank you so much for joining me today.
Nice to see you.
Nice
Thank
to see
you.
as well.